I have a favor to ask you. If you can, real quick, hit the follow button wherever you're getting this podcast so you'll be notified when I drop a new episode. Also, like, comment, and share because sharing is caring. Thank you. Noah alayhi salam is one of the few Nabis in Islam to be raised to an elevated level due to the tremendous trials he had to endure during his prophethood. Imagine living your life and one day you are called to be a messenger of God amongst the people known for idol worship. Imagine trying to save people from a coming punishment for close to 10 centuries. Noah alayhi salam endured for 950 years. He said, "My Lord, indeed I invited my people to truth night and day." Night and day. So even while they were resting, Noah alayhi salam was inviting them to true worship, night and day. Hello, and welcome back to The Conversation Piece with your host, Akila. Surah 71, Ayat 5 through 10. My Lord, indeed I invited my people to truth night and day, but my invitation increased them not except in flight. And indeed, every time I invited them that you may forgive them, they put their fingers in their ears, covered themselves up with their garments, persisted, and were arrogant. Then I invited them publicly. Then I announced to them and also confided to them secretly and said, "Ask forgiveness of your Lord. Indeed, He is ever a perpetual forgiver." Let's start from the beginning. Surah 71, Ayat 1 through 4. We sent Noah to his people, saying, "Warn your people before there comes to them a painful punishment." He said, "O my people, indeed I am to you a clear warner. Worship Allah, fear Him, and obey me. Allah will forgive you of your sins and delay you for a specified term. Indeed, the time set by Allah when it comes will not be delayed if you only knew." After Adam alayhi salam, very few generation after generation worshipped the one true God, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Satan had the people influenced to worship idols other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is considered shirk, a major sin. The one sin that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not forgive. Shaitan, ever so cunning, had generation after generation forgetting about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, although there were always a few among each generation that heeded the message and were righteous and pious people. Shaitan found a way for these people to be remembered. Noah alayhi salam was among his people for 950 years, calling them to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not the gods they were making themselves and worshiping. The idols were given names and they were worshipped like gods. Names like Wad, Suwa, Yahuth, Ya'uk, and Nasir. First, Shaitan had the people carve images and make statues out of them. Then he persuaded the people to revere and worship them. Then he had them prostrate to these idols and had them defending this practice. Surah 71, Ayat 23. And say, "Never leave your gods, and never leave Wad, nor Suwa, nor Yahuth, and Ya'uk, and Nasir." Noah alayhi salam called for his people to prostrate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not these idols. Noah alayhi salam's people rejected him. They mocked him, they teased him, and even threatened to kill him. Surah 71, Ayat 21. Noah said, "My Lord, indeed they have disobeyed me and followed him whose wealth and children will not increase them except in loss. And they conspired an immense conspiracy." They called Noah alayhi salam crazy, insane, a madman, but mostly that Noah alayhi salam was not special. He was a man like them. They being the elite, the wealthy, the powerful. The only ones who followed Noah alayhi salam were primarily from the poor, the weak, the ones the elites looked down on. So why should they join his faith of the beggars? Surah 11, ayat 27. But the chiefs of the unbelievers amongst his people said, "We see in you nothing but a man like ourselves, nor do we see that any follow you but the lowest among us, in immature judgment. Nor do we see in you any merit above us. In fact, we think you are a liar." The war of words continued. Surah 26, ayah 111. They said, "Should we believe you while you are followed by the lowest class of people?" Noah alayhi salam remained steadfast in his faith and tried to reason with his people. Generation after generation grew increasingly arrogant in their disbelief and passing on the message to not follow Noah alayhi salam and to wage war against him if necessary. Yet Noah alayhi salam continued to call his people to worship the one true God. Noah alayhi salam saw his followers were not increasing, while his antagonizers grew by the numbers. Countless men, women, and children growing up before him, rejecting the faith, now teaching their children to reject him as well. It was revealed to Noah alayhi salam that no more would be following him, and he was strengthened in his faith by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to not grieve or worry anymore over his rejectors. Noah alayhi salam lifted his hands and made a dua, a prayer, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Surah 71, ayat 26 through 27. And Noah alayhi salam said, "My Lord, leave not one of the disbelievers on this earth. If you leave them, they will mislead your servants, and they will beget none but wicked disbelievers." Noah alayhi salam's prayer was accepted. The case among his people was closed. Surah 11, ayat 37. And construct the ship, the ark, under our observation and our inspiration, and not to address me concerning those who have wronged. Indeed, they are about to be drowned. Noah alayhi salam constructed the ark away from the city and away from water, so his people really thought he was going crazy. Constructing a ship away with no water in sight. This drew the mockery of his people. Surah 11, ayat 36, 38 through 39. And it was revealed to Noah that no one will believe from your people except those who have already believed. So do not be distressed by what they have been doing. As he was constructing the ark, whenever the chiefs among his people passed by him, they made a mockery of him. He said, "If you mock at us, so do we mock at you likewise for your mocking. And you will know who it is on whom will come a torment that will cover him with disgrace, and on whom will have a lasting torment." The Conversation Piece podcast can now be found on YouTube. Go to www.youtube.com/@Akilah B. Lynch, AQUILABLINCH. Surah 11, ayat 32 through 34. They said, "O Noah, you have disputed with us and been frequent in dispute of us. So bring us what you threaten us with, if you be of the truthful." Noah alayhi salam said, "Allah will only bring it to you if he wills, and you will not cause him failure." The ark was constructed and completed, and it was revealed to Noah alayhi salam to keep a watch on the oven, for when it starts to overflow with water, that was a sign of the coming flood. Surah 11, ayat 40. So it was, until our command came and the oven overflowed. We said, "Load upon the ship of each creature 2 mates in your family, except those about whom the word has proceeded, and include whoever has believed, but none believed with him except a few. There are mentions in the Quran about some of the wives of the prophets, some held in honor and some held low. The wives of Noah alayhi salam and Lut alayhi salam are of the latter. Neither of these women were believers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and both of these women suffered the consequences of the punishment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was held by some Islamic scholars that Noah alayhi salam, at the time of the flood, had less than 100 followers after 950 years of calling. Some have the number as low as 10, some the number as high as 80, but only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the true number. But the trend follows that the prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, outside of Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings be upon him, had very few followers. Surah 11, ayat 41 through 48. And Noah said, embark therein, in the name of Allah is its course and its anchorage. Indeed, my Lord is forgiving and merciful. And it sailed with them through waves like mountains. And Noah called to his son, who was apart from him, O my son, come aboard with us, and be not with the disbelievers. But his son said, I will take refuge on a mountain to protect me from the water. Noah said, there is no protector today from the decree of Allah, except for whom he gives mercy. And the waves came between them, and he was among the drowned. And it was said, O earth, swallow your water, and O sky, withhold your rain. And the water subsided, and the matter was accomplished, and the ship came to rest on the Mount Judy. And it was said, away with the wrongdoing people. And Noah called to his Lord and said, my Lord, indeed my son is of my family, and indeed your promise is true, and you are the most just of judges. He said, O Noah, he is not of your family. Indeed, he is one whose work was other than righteous. So ask me not for that about which you have no knowledge. Indeed, I advise you, unless you be among the ignorant. Noah said, my Lord, I seek refuge in you from asking that of which I have no knowledge. And unless you forgive me and have mercy upon me, I will be among the losers. It was said, O Noah, disembark in security from us, and blessings upon you and upon nations descending from those with you. There were nations that descended from Noah alayhi salam that believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and some nations that did not. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them enjoyment for a time. Surah 11, ayat 48. But other nations, of them we will grant enjoyment. Then there will touch them from us a painful punishment. The stories of the prophets are supposed to teach the believers of practicing patience, steadfastness, and perseverance in faith. The story of Noah alayhi salam, and one of the many lessons, is about patience. And after 950 years, that patience was depleted, and the disbelievers were drowned. But the story of Noah alayhi salam lived on afterwards in the nations that followed. One of the nations that followed Noah alayhi salam were the Ad people, and their Nabi came from among them, one of their own. On the next episode, the Prophet Hud alayhi salam. Hello, how are you? I hope you are enjoying yourself so far. I have a favor to ask you. If you can, real quick, hit the follow button wherever you're getting this podcast, so you'll be notified when I drop a new episode. Also, like, comment, and share, because sharing is caring. Thank you. Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Conversation Piece Podcast. I am your humble host, Akila, requesting that you join me again. So, until then, be safe, love and value yourself so that you can love and value others. I bid you adieu with the greeting, Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you.